Hey guys, my name is Max and welcome to my movie channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 2015 thriller entitled Maggie, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Abigail Breslin. You guys remember that we picked up Maggie on our last Blu-ray hunting episode together, but if you weren't there for it, or if you just didn't watch it yet, I'll leave an annotation for it right here so you can check it out and then come back to this video. People say that this film is a thriller, but I feel that it's been misclassified. I feel that it's actually a drama. In this film, we see Arnold Schwarzenegger taking care of his daughter, Maggie, played by Abigail Breslin, who has been infected with a virus that turns you essentially into a zombie. This film opens up as the outbreak had already passed. It's already been going on for a while, a lot of infected people, but the government has already started to regain control of the epidemic at this point. In the very beginning scenes of this film, we hear a voicemail between Maggie and her father Wade, telling him not to come to the city, not to look for her, and that there's a curfew in place. But like any good father, Arnold Schwarzenegger is already looking for her. Wade is on the hunt for his daughter, and he stumbles across her in a quarantine zone. Through the help of a family doctor friend, Wade manages to liberate Maggie from the quarantine zone. It's more of a hospital for the infected. Technically, yes, quarantine, but she was able to be released to his care for her last days, under the stipulation that when it comes close to the time that she's going to be turning into the zombie, that authorities can come and collect her and bring her back to the quarantine zone. You know from the get-go that Arnold Schwarzenegger is not going to let anyone take his daughter away from him. He doesn't care if she's a zombie or not. She is staying with him, and he wants to handle it himself. I think that this is a great film. It had a lot of good ideas, but there were also some ideas that kind of fell short for me. I'll just tell you this, that this movie, in my opinion, is a 7 out of 10. I think it's a great film. Arnold Schwarzenegger showing off his dramatic chops in this movie. And it's really good because he does a great job at playing a concerned father, desperate, at his edge, at the end of his wits, trying to save his daughter, trying to protect his daughter from authorities who are looking to bring her back in to eradicate the virus. So if you're looking for a movie along the lines of Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, this is not that movie. This is a different type of movie. It's not a lot of action in it. There are some action sequences, but they're very few and far between. This movie is not about the action. It's not about how the outbreak started. It's not about how the government regained control. It's not about any of those things. This film is strictly about Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Wade, and his daughter Abigail Breslin, or Maggie, their last days together. That's what this film is about. This film is about Maggie hanging out with her friends for the last time, seeing her younger siblings for the last time, seeing her aunt for the last time, enjoying her last days of her life as she helplessly transforms into a zombie. This film has great performances from Abigail Breslin in particular. I honestly feel that at times she outshines Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll tell you why. The character that she's playing is a young woman, teenager, been infected. The beginning of her life. She's at the beginning of her life, but she's at the end of her life. She knows she's going to die and turn into something terrible that could potentially hurt her family. She could hurt the one she loves, and that scares her to death. She doesn't want that to happen. She's turning slowly into a monster. Her skin is starting to decay and rot, and it disgusts her. And this is a film about her coping with that, spending the last days of her life with her family, friends, saying goodbyes pretty much. It's a very sad film. Very sad film. This film also has a great performance from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody knows Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's in The Terminator. He's in Commando. He's in Predator. He's in so many films I couldn't list them all here, especially not off the top of my head. He doesn't really undertake dramatic roles. He's an action hero. He saves people. That's what he does. Not really a dramatic kind of guy. But I honestly think that stepping out of his comfort zone, he did a really great job in this film. He stepped out of his comfort zone, he embraced the character, he put himself into the character's shoes. He was able to sympathize with the character, sympathize with the script for this movie. And that's why he did such a great job in this film. He undertook the role knowing that it would be something far different from anything he's ever done before. And I have to say, he certainly impressed me, and I'm sure he'll impress you too. I'll admit I was a bit trepidatious in this film before watching it because I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it, I saw he was in it, I knew the premise of the film to a certain extent, and I hate to admit, I had doubts that he could pull off a character in a film like this. But you know what? Total surprise, he pulled it off. He blew me through the back of the couch, through the wall, into my backyard, through my backyard, into my neighbor's house. That was how good his performance was. And I have to commend him for stepping out of his comfort zone and creating something original and just fresh. And it was great to see him in one of those kinds of roles. So overall, I give this film a 7 out of 10. It's a great film. Honestly, the two things that make this film really worth watching are Arnold Schwarzenegger and Abigail Breslin. They do a phenomenal job, and they have great chemistry together, and it just works out. It's fresh. It's something I've never seen before. Something that a lot of you probably haven't seen before. So, I mean, honestly, who could have thought that they could make a movie about this? Not me. So anyway, guys, it's a 7 out of 10 in my personal opinion. I'm about to tell you about some of the things that didn't really work out for me and some of the things that really worked for me. So if you want to avoid spoilers, go on and cut off this video right here. And just know that it's a great film and I recommend that you check it out. Let's start off with the positive things first. The things that I really enjoyed about this film. The first thing I want to recognize is the script for this film is really amazing. I've never heard of a film doing anything like this before, and it was fresh and it was fun to watch. Abigail Breslin does a terrific performance in this film, playing a girl at the beginning of her life who's already at the end of her life. She's turning into a monster. She hates the fact that she's turning into a monster. Her skin is decaying. At one point, she actually breaks her finger and she just chops it off because she knows that is the easier option than watching it continue to rot and decay and fall off naturally. This film is very sad. It does a great job of just making you sympathize with this poor girl. Another scene that I enjoyed in this film has to do with Maggie's mother and Wade's wife. I'm not going to give it away, but it has to do with her. It's towards the ending of the film. It's a very sad moment, and I don't know. Just thinking about it makes me, choke up a little bit. It's just a sad thing, but it's also beautiful. And if you see the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now for the things that don't really work out in this film. There's a couple of them, not too many, but they do drag down my opinion of this film a little bit. The first one being that sometimes the story lags. There's not a lot happening. It's a slow burn type of film, which I usually don't mind, but it just seems more pronounced, the lag in this film. And there are times where I just wish that, we could have a little more time with either Abigail Breslin or, Maggie or Wade, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just wish we could have a little more time with them. There's just a lot of people sitting around, pensively thinking, deep in thought, with this look on their face. That look, nothing wrong with it, but it happens a little too frequently. I mean, we know that they're sad, we know that they're sad, we know that they're going through a personal trauma, and that it's a very traumatic experience that they're both going through, but I think that we didn't necessarily need as much of that in the film. We already know it's a tragic thing that's happening to these people. We don't need to keep seeing it, The only other thing that I think really didn't work out, well, it's not that it didn't work out, it's just, in my opinion, it could have been done better, was the ending. The ending is good. The ending is good. It's not a bad ending. It could have had us in that moment for a little longer. I think if we were there for a little bit more time in the last scenes, it would have been very beneficial to the story and to the closure of the film. I wanted to see what happens after what happens. I wanted to see what happens after what happens. But we don't get that. And it's kind of a bummer, to be quite honest with you. I was kind of hoping that we could see more of what happens after what happens. So those are really the only two problems that I had with this film. Otherwise, it is a great film. I really enjoyed the performances from both Abigail Breslin and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that Arnold stepping out of his comfort zone, much like Owen Wilson did in my last review for No Escape. I'll leave an annotation right here. That's another example of a comedic actor, in his case, stepping out of his comfort zone and creating something very fresh. In Arnold's instance, it was an action hero stepping into a dramatic role, not too much action, creating something great. So if you want to check out my review on No Escape, I'll leave I just left an annotation for it. You can check it out and come back here. If you've already seen this film, leave me a comment below telling me what you thought about it. I really enjoyed it. It's just those two things, for me, kind of hurt the film. It doesn't ruin it at all by any measure. This is a great film, and I'm very glad that I picked it up. It was a blind buy for me. I had some idea what it was about, but I had no idea if it would be good or bad. You know what I mean? I just heard about the film. I'm glad I purchased it. I think if you made the purchase, you would be happy too. Alright guys, so that's all I have to say about Maggie. Definitely check it out. 7 out of 10. Great film. Really great film. Alright guys, so if you had fun with me today and you want to keep hanging out with me, do me a favor and like and share this video. Also, don't forget to comment and subscribe. You can subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button below, or by clicking on the cigarette burn insignia in the lower right hand corner of this video. And if you do all four, that's good karma for you, my friend. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.